Hey there, thanks for watching. My name is Christiana and my channel is Well Behaved Wallet, where I talk about mindset, motivation, and making or saving money. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I got started selling on eBay. So this is for you if you aren't currently selling on eBay and want to know the process and the steps and sort of my motivation to how I got started selling. If you are already selling and you're like an old pro, and this isn't necessarily the thing for you as an instructional, but I'll try to give some kind of like backstory on how I got started and my things that happened to me along the way and kind of in my journey. So either way, I hope you stick around. So I got started selling on eBay officially in April of 2017, and I just looked up the date, so I'm pretty like clear on the timeline and the order of events. So the reason I started was, like many people, I was looking for an additional source of income, and the interesting thing is I kind of heard this idea of like revenue streams and all that, and I heard actually from a YouTube, one of the first YouTube channels I followed, Mel Soldera, and I'll link to her channel below. She'd mentioned that the average millionaire has seven different income streams, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. And I've always had multiple jobs, but I've never had anywhere close to seven. So like I usually would have three or four, but I thought, oh, seven's a good number to aim for. So I had been looking for an additional income stream. I didn't know what that would be, but I knew that I wanted something, and I had been looking for about 2 years. So I first heard that from Mel in 2016, and I didn't get started selling on eBay until 2017. So how that came to pass was this. I kind of had that idea in my head. And I say this because sometimes, almost always, the timeline is almost never what you predict. It's never like a very linear progression. It's almost always either way faster than you thought it would be or way slower than you thought. So that's just kind of a note, something that I've noticed. So in selling, because I had this eye out for an additional stream of income, I started following, and I have been following a bunch of like personal development. I don't want to say self-help because it's not self-help, but Ramit Sethi is the person that I was following, and I ultimately decided to go with. I call him a teacher. He's an instructor, an educator. And I'd been following his blog posts, and I'd get his emails, and I found them really helpful. But I always thought that his courses were out of my price range because they'd be like $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, and I'm like, I don't have that to invest. So I would read his content, and then an email came across for his course Earn 1K, and this was, I think, probably early March. And I read it and I was interested, and I went to the website, and there are like pages. I mean, like you just scroll down and down and down, like feet of testimonials and like resource labs, and the way that he instructs is super helpful and super relatable. And I would 100% recommend that course. It's called Earn 1K, and he doesn't do any affiliates. Like it's just, I just really recommend the course as very helpful. So because the cost, it was 1K. It was $997 if you paid in one installment, and if you paid in 3 installments, it ended up being like 19, 11, 10, 19, $1,019. And that, I thought, okay, there's a possibility that I might be able to do that, because I had my emergency fund and a little bit more. So it would completely wipe me out. So that was really scary at first, to think about investing in a course at that level. So I thought about it for a good 2-3 weeks, or however long his email drip sequence was. And I would like go back and forth. Like I'd visit the website and I'd go back. I decided I wasn't ready. I didn't have the time or the commitment or the infrastructure to invest. And I remember at one point I even wrote him an email and was like, I love your stuff, but I just can't invest. And he wrote me back and was like, it's okay, it'll be here when you're ready. And I was like, oh, that's great. Like just the fact that, and it was in like a minute that he responded. I was like, that's really cool. So that again was like, that's stuck in my head. So at one point I had gotten so far as to like add the course to my checkout cart. Like I had the course in my cart. So, and then I decided, I backed out. And here's the thing, like he does this thing like a lot of virtual courses do, where if you abandon your cart, they'll come back and get you. But in this case, he closes the course after a certain amount. It's only open for like 2 weeks a year or something like that. So you're motivated to sign up quickly. so it was about to end, and like I remember, like I just looked at my notes on this, like I was debating up until like 11:49 p.m. on the day that the course was going to close, and I think it was a Friday, um, and I was looking online for reviews and I couldn't find a ton. I found some, but not a ton. And I'm actually going to put this as a potential review because I highly recommend that. And if anyone else is in that same position of like waffling back and forth on this course specifically, or really, I can't speak for any of his other work, but I really enjoyed this course, and I do like his content. So I would imagine that other courses are very similar. So I was going back and forth on this, and then at 11:55, after I had added the course to my cart and then gone away for like the second time, like I even wrote like this isn't the time for me, like in my journal. I got an email from him, and it's him sitting in like a banana costume holding a beer, just looking like by himself, looking like sad and forlorn. And the caption underneath the picture was, "Hey, wait, I thought we were gonna party together." And I was like, oh my gosh, like that was perfect. So like he just nailed my psychology and my mindset, my frame of mind. Like he nailed it. I was like, all right, this guy is in my head. He knows what I'm thinking. I think he can help me achieve what I want to do. So I was like, let me just do it. And instead of paying in one lump sum, I asked if I could just do the 3 payment installments. So I did that. But then, and this is really important too, I asked his help desk, like I opened a help ticket, and I asked if I was able to pay the full amount because I was hesitant to really invest almost all of my emergency fund. If I could come up with the money like midway through, would they be able to give me the full price of the course, like the discounted price of the course? And his help desk team got back to me right away and said sure. So that was like, all right, final thing, like 3 things, like the email, his response, and then his help desk team was phenomenal. So those 3 things convinced me to hit that buy button. So I bought that course. So I bought this $1,000 course in 2017, and this was the up to date the most that I'd ever invested in myself, because I bought like workbooks here and there. Some were great, some were not so great. I think the first thing that I invested myself in was, I can't remember which one I bought first. I had bought, to date, I bought a Leonie Dawson Amazing Life workbook, which I bought 3 years in a row, and I still highly recommend. It's a great workbook. She's a little bit hippie new age for me, so I don't buy it anymore, but she's got some great principles. She's a little bit hippie, and I think possibly like she's got some interesting points of view. And I also bought a Michael Hyatt workbook, and I do not recommend that at all. Like, and I feel bad. I don't feel bad, but I just feel like you can find the same information on the web. Like you can download it. Like I could have written that workbook, and I was really disappointed in that because I do enjoy him as a person. I just didn't think, I think I spent either 197 or it was like a significant number, like a significant amount. And I didn't like it. I didn't find the videos helpful. So that was kind of a disappointment. I feel like it goes like one good one not so good one good one not so good when it comes to like investing in yourself. So you just got to keep doing it. So my point being, and as this relates to eBay, although this is really turning out to be why it's a good idea to invest in yourself, which, hey, that's what this might be. When it comes specifically to setting up the eBay account, after going through his courses and kind of what I had read. So I bought this course for $1,000, and I set myself the goal of earning back that $1,000 within a month, because that's his promise. It's earn $1,000 in a month. And I'm like, all right, let me get on it. So I thought for me, the quickest way to start generating income would be eBay, because I'd seen other people do it on YouTube, and I'm like, that's a good way to make a quick dollar. So that's exactly what I did. So I'd had an old eBay, and this is how I set it up. Like, these are the steps that I took. And then I'll give you also 5 steps to set really anything and achieve anything. I had an old eBay account from like 2005, like way back when. So I brought that up and I activated it, and I applied for selling privileges, which you can do. And I bought a subscription. That was another investment, subscription to a basic store subscription. So I was like, all right, let me invest this. So I did that, and then I had an old PayPal account, and I linked the two. I think they'd already been, but it was like these were things that I already had. So if you're looking for information on how to set up an eBay or PayPal account, Google it. Like, that's another thing, is to, if you have a question, Google it. Try to write down and articulate your questions and find answers to them, because sometimes it's easy to get sort of overwhelmed in this whole big sort of mishmash of like, I want to do this, but I'm not sure I can, or I don't know how, and then just to leave it at that. But if you're really determined, you will find a way. Like, try to break down your lack of information and reformulate that into questions. So that was something I found helpful. Um, so I was on this deadline to start, to make back the $1,000 in a month. And I knew it was going to be ambitious, but I knew in my heart and in my mind that I had the skills to do it. I just had to work it out. I just had to find a way to make that real. So that's what I did. And so I had this old eBay account, and I had my plan was to just list 5 items a day and just to keep it going on that pace, that trajectory. So that is exactly what I did. And I remember I started listing on like a Tuesday, and I listed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then on Friday, I made my first sale. So I had fewer than 20 items listed. And I remember I was sitting at work, and all of a sudden an email came through that said, so-and-so has just paid you $15. And it was a black and white dress that I loved, but it had outgrown its use. I remember thinking, someone just gave me money for something that like essentially was, I'd already like definitely gotten my wear out of it. And I don't think it was much more than $10. And I was really excited. So I left my work, like I asked permission and left work immediately. I was like, oh my goodness, like I don't even have any shipping supplies, because I wasn't expecting to make a first sale within that amount of time. So I remember I had to pay like $7 for a poly mailer that now I get for like 40 cents. I was like, this is ridiculous. I know there must be a cheaper way, but I hadn't made the investment in that time, the things that and my supplies. So I just did what I did. Then I went to the post office and shipped it. And this is something else that I did. Like I made a big presentation, which I still kind of do. I put tissue paper in my items, around my items, and at the time I was writing notes, and in this one, because it was my first sale and I was so excited, I put a $5 gift card just to say thank you, hey, this is my first sale, like thank you for being my first sale. So I did that and sent it off, and that was my first sale. And I knew that I could do it if I just kept my numbers going, and I had been watching enough YouTube channels to know that YouTube channels on selling on eBay, that you just need to be consistent. So that's what I did. And I managed to make that $1,000 goal by the end of the month. So I would say that the key things that really helped me were the following. So here are the 5 steps, 11 minutes in. Number 1, set a deadline. I had that deadline of 1 month to make back the full amount of the course. Number 2, to have some skin in the game. Buying that course really made me feel like, all right, like I've got like money invested, like I got to perform. I got to do this for myself because I know I can, and I know I want to, and I know that it will serve future me down the road, which it totally is. Number 3 is to have a really good support system, and this was key, like to surround yourself with like-minded people, which is what I was doing on YouTube. I was watching, at the time it was State's Place, it was 10K on the Bay, who's now Daily Refinement. It was just random people. Excuse me, it's like Resell, I don't know, you can find them. They're like amazing people, and you can tell someone's energy, because I feel like the video is such a good means of communicating that. So I felt encouraged and supported, even though I didn't know these people in real life, but it did actually lead to real life, because Chris Lynn was running an eBay resellers mastermind group, and I ended up, because I was on this sort of, it was like going to school for me, this Earn 1K course. I called it my business school, which it really was. So he set up a mastermind group way that you could like connect with other people, entrepreneurs in your area, and that were selling on eBay, and that's exactly what I did. There were 5 of us. We were all at different stages in life, that we had a couple mastermind calls, amazing experience. And eventually too, I did end up meeting with another guy who lived in my state, and it was amazing to like see his process, which is almost identical to my process, and it was just really cool to feel like, oh, someone else is in this game too. So that was step number 3, is to have a support system. Step number 4 is to have your clear goals outlined and a clear path to meet those goals. So for me, I knew that I just wanted to sell, and in order to sell, I had to list, which is what I did. And then number 5, have an ultimate goal in mind. And I feel like I'm kind of living that ultimate goal now. My eBay income is open. It's not necessarily thriving because I'm not really putting in the energy right now. My focus has been on like decluttering the house, but I know that that avenue is there, and I know, more importantly, I know I'm capable of earning that. So now I take that confidence and that energy and sort of move that, transition that into other areas. So that's my plan. That was my process, and these steps will work no matter what. Um, and that's really served me well. And so that's how I started. That's how I kind of overcame my initial inertia and got started in something that's serving me well to this day, 3 years down the line. So I highly recommend it. Let me know where you're at in your income stream journey. Actually, interesting. Let me know if you make it this far. We're almost 15 minutes in. Thank you for watching this much. And please let me know how you found this channel. If you like the title, or if you are a viewer of mine, which, thank you, you guys are the best. I feel so lucky that you're watching me. Yeah, so let me know how you found my channel, and where you are in your, I guess, financial entrepreneur, financial freedom journey. That'd be great. So thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you'll keep watching. Thanks. Bye.